A lot of scholars believe the Bronze Age collapse was a unique event in European history. And what I'm trying to show you is it was not a unique event. It was not a revolution. It's just part of the natural cycle of history. Because when you have an elite who engage in rent-seeking behavior, eventually the society will collapse. Because you have too many elite who want their cut. And when we look at other societies, you would discover this pattern repeats itself. So this is Peter Turchin, his theory of elite over production. Okay, let me clarify about Mycenaean Greece, okay? All right, the problem is that you have too many rich people who want to charge rent, and that creates pressure on society. And this instability means that your society is no longer resilient. And the idea of resilience is that it survives disasters. So think of a tower that's about to collapse. It will not collapse on its own. Something must hit it for it to collapse. But this one thing could be anything, okay? It could be the people get angry and they riot. It could be the weather turns bad. It could be there's an earthquake. It could be there's an invasion. So these different societies, Mycenaean Greece, Hittites, the Canaanites, they collapsed for different reasons. But the fundamental reason is because their societies were unstable. The reason why they were unstable is you had too many elite people trying to charge rent on everyone else. It is impossible to build a society that is stable over a long period of time. In fact, you can make the argument that it is good for societies to rise and fall. It's the same thing as, it's really the same question as, is it possible for us to live forever? Is it possible for us to live forever? And then the question then is, why would we want to live forever? You understand? Innovation happens when we die. So what's amazing about the Bronze Age collapse is because the Bronze Age collapsed, Mycenaean Greece changed into a new society that gave us Greek civilization, which then gave us Western civilization. So in other words, if Mycenaean Greece did not collapse, we would not have today. Also, because Canaan collapsed, a new society came into being called the Israelites, okay? Israel. And Israel gave us the Bible. And guess what, guys? The Greeks and the Bible are the two foundations of Western civilization. So we would not have Western civilization if these societies did not collapse and new societies could come into being. So you can make the argument that innovation, progress, is driven by death and collapse. If we did not die, societies did not collapse, there'd be no progress. And people have been debating this question for a long time, but I think the answer is it is impossible to build a society that lives forever, even though people have tried. And also, we shouldn't even try, okay? Because collapse is good. Also think of a forest fire. Each time there's a forest fire, okay, the forest burns down, that's good because it allows the forest to regenerate and become stronger. What happens if you don't have a forest fire? Do you guys know? Okay, the resilience goes down. And also, the ecosystem is less vibrant. There are less animals. The trees are less strong. Okay, do you understand? So that's why it's important to burn down the forest now and then. Because if you don't burn down the forest, then it's less resilient. So if there's a big forest fire, it will just spread and destroy the entire forest. So it's good for societies to constantly change over time. So before we were talking about egalitarian societies, how they were at most 10,000 people. And they did have an elite, okay? They had an elite. They had people in charge, but this elite didn't own the property. There's no private property, okay? So it's egalitarian. And these societies were pretty stable, okay? And the reason why is usually it was the woman in charge, and the woman were good at controlling population. Because as a woman, you have control over your body. So you could choose not to have children or have less children. And it was very peaceful, right? People didn't really fight because there was nothing to fight over. Everything was owned by everyone else. The problem with egalitarian societies are these three things, okay? They're less organized, meaning like they are less willing or less able to create public projects. They have less wealth, and therefore they have less scale, okay? You can have at most 10,000 people. Which means what? Which means like eventually they will be conquered. Because if you are one of these societies, like you're an empire, you must constantly expand in order to please the elite. Either you expand or you fight a civil war. And so you take over egalitarian societies and you make them into your society. Okay? So for most of human history, we're egalitarian, but that's because we didn't have that many people. But over time, as population increases, then you are less egalitarian. You become more unequal. If you stay egalitarian, you will eventually be conquered by not an egalitarian society. For most of human history, we're egalitarian. But once we start to develop elite societies, or kingdoms, then they could easily conquer egalitarian society. And when we do, so we are skipping ahead, but when we do Samaria, which is basically many different city-states in Iraq, Mesopotamia, what we will discover is that there are different social structures. There are different social structures, including societies that were egalitarian. But when you're in competition with each other, societies that are more organized, more wealthy, and have bigger populations will always win out over other societies. You have these three things, you need a permanent hereditary elite, because then they are more incentivized in order to work harder. And then the question then is, okay, why is that true? And it's true because for societies to become wealthier, you don't need everyone to work hard. You just need a certain number of people to work hard. You just need a small group of people to work hard. So think of like China, right? How China became wealthier these past 30, 40 years. And the reason why is you had a small number of entrepreneurs who worked really, really hard, okay? Not everyone worked hard, okay? But because you had these people who did work really hard, China became wealthier. Does that make sense? Any more questions? Okay, so great, okay? So again, what makes this class different from other classes is we are looking at the entire scope of human history, all right? And so it's very important for you to not remember the facts, okay? I don't need you to remember the facts, okay? I don't need you to remember Mycenaean Greece or the Sea Peoples, but I do need you to remember the concepts and the ideas. How the world, history, is constantly in competition with each other. And why is it that some ideas win out over other ideas? Okay? So I'm not saying this is the best idea. Okay? I'm not saying a permanent hereditary elite is a really good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. But I'm showing you why it wins out and how it impacts human history and the development of civilization.